All right, here's lesson 6.1 on polynomials. So we have some vocabulary. So a monomial is the number or product of numbers and variables with whole number exponents. Polynomial is a monomial with a sum or difference of monomials. So each monomial in a polynomial is a term because the monomial has only one term. So here are some examples of polynomials. And then below that are examples that are not polynomials. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents. So example 1 says, identify the degree of each monomial. So there is one term here, and that number 6 tells us our degree is 6. The next example, 5.6. There isn't a variable there, so we say the degree is 0. So there's no variable x. Example C. It has two variables. It has a variable of x and a variable y. So what we do is we add those exponents. So 1 plus 6 is 7. So our degree is 7. Example D. Now we have three variables. So we add the exponents. So we have 2 plus 1 plus 3 is 6. The degree of a polynomial is given by the term with the greatest degree. To find the degree of a polynomial, you want to make sure you write it in standard form. So standard form means you have your highest degree term to your lowest degree term. So this is your constant, which has a degree of 0. And then you have your highest term right there, which is a degree of 3. So notice it's in descending order. So the degree of the first term is the degree of the polynomial. So the degree is 3. And the benefit to that is it tells us the shape of the graph, whatever that degree is. So the shape of this graph is going to be what we call an S or a snake because it's called a cubic function. Degree 3s are cubic functions. So up until this unit, we've been working a lot with linear functions, degree of 1, quadratic functions, degree of 2. So we're going to be moving into higher order polynomials that have degree of 3 or higher. The second thing we want to identify is the leading coefficient. So it's the coefficient, the number in front of that x cubed. So the leading coefficient is 5. A polynomial can be classified by the number of terms. A polynomial with 2 terms is called a binomial. So 2 terms. So let's go backwards here. So 1 term equals a monomial. 2 terms is a binomial. Three terms is a trinomial. Now, anything higher than 4 terms, so plus 3, you just say it's a polynomial with blank terms. So if it had 5 terms, you'd say polynomial with 5 terms. So there's not a fancy name after the trinomial. Now, in this box here has the classification of the polynomials by degree. So constants, so if we go up here, this is that constant in our polynomial. If we just had a single constant, so like a number, the degree would be 0. And we say the type of polynomial is called a constant. If we have a degree of 1, so this would be the polynomial y equals x minus 4, the degree is 1, so we call that a linear function. And that's what we spent a lot of the first couple chapters of our course. The next degree is 2, y equals x squared plus 3x minus 1. That is a quadratic function. It has a degree of 2, so those are the shape of a parabola. What we're going to see in this chapter is a cubic function, so a degree of 3, a quartic function, a degree of 4, and a quintic function, a degree of 5. Example 2. Rewrite each polynomial in standard form, then identify the leading coefficient, the degree, the number of terms, and then name the polynomial. So example A, we want to put that in standard form. So we're going to put the negative 5x squared first, then the 4x, then the 3. So we're rewriting it into standard form. So we have the highest term, the x squared, then the x, then the constant. So now it's in standard form. Now we need to identify the leading coefficient. So the negative 5 is your leading coefficient. The 2 represents your degree. So the degree is 2. The leading coefficient is negative 5. Now we're going to go ahead and name the polynomial, and it's based off the degree. So if we go up to this chart, our degree is 2, so we call that a quadratic function. So this is a quadratic. And then we want to say how many terms it has. Since it's 3 terms, it's called a quadratic trinomial. All right, second example, put in highest term first, the x to the 4th power, then the x squared term, then the constant. So now it's in standard form. We identify the leading coefficient. So that's your leading coefficient of 8. Your degree, that exponent, is 4. So we go up to our chart. The degree is 4, so it's a quartic function. And again, it has 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. So we call that quartic trinomial. All right, our last example, put it in standard form first. So our highest term is our x cubed term, then our x squared, then our 7x, and then our constant of 6. Our leading coefficient is negative 4. Our degree is 3. And now we want to go ahead and name that polynomial based off the degree and the number of terms. So we go up to our list. Our degree is 3, so it's going to be called a cubic function. And then we count how many terms it has. It has 1, 2, 3, 4. So anything that is higher than 3 with terms, it doesn't have a name for it. So it is a cubic polynomial. I'm not going to have enough room there. With 4 terms.